Love it, love it. And really grateful to be here. I've met many of you along the way. Your time is super, super valuable. I just want to let you know that. So I'll try to hit this with some really important elements so that you have it. We're coming up on Christmas time. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Just so everybody knows, this is really as Scott said, a special time. What a lot of people would maybe assume on this call, and what some people may not know on this call, is the fact that Steve and Scott have generously given of their time over the last probably almost, since they've been in the company, but specifically with me, the last 4 years, finding the pain points of the scanner program and surgically going after coming up with countermeasures to be able to create a program that will be beneficial to so many more people. Because as I look at the scanner program and as I look at the way it's currently laid out, as Steve did this, or I can't remember Steve or Scott, but they did this thing with the current market president. This is before I got in here, and they said, okay, here's the scanner. Go ahead, scan somebody, show me how you do it. And they went onto the web and they're trying to put the scanner in place, and they're putting their hand on it, and they're trying to do it all, and they said, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And then when you're in the front of a room of people or at somebody's home and it's not working, and you don't have any technical support, and you don't have an app that's running effectively, and you don't have a scanner that's calibrated properly or something along those lines, it's so sad, because the reality is that you have continued to muscle this forward, and it's a great technology. I mean, it really is state-of-the-art technology. It is not something anybody else has ever been able to duplicate. So we all know that it's a great technology. It's just, can we get the rough edges off and make it super simple, super easy, less friction, less challenges, and allow you to go to work and have fun with this thing, as opposed to fight through, have a good day, and then take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, and so forth. And so that's really what we've been working on for the last 4 years. And so I want to give a huge shout out to Steve and Scott, because quite frankly, the reason we're here today is because of them. I mean, certainly there's a ton of people who are involved in this, both here in Provo and then out in the field. But quite honestly, the two people who have been absolutely consistently sticking to, a weekly meeting or follow-ups or calls, and come to the table with real, not just challenges, but solutions. And in fact, Scott was one of the very few people I've ever met in this industry who, what happens a lot of times in success, and you guys have probably seen it before, is a lot of times when people get a little intoxicated with their success, is they have success and they don't want anybody else to know about it. They don't want anybody else to feel it like, a competitive group, and they don't want to share how they did it. And Scott said, let me show you exactly how I do it. And let me show you exactly the model. And let me show you how I can do it. And here's my pain points. Boom, 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 boom. And he says, in spite of that, we're still getting traction, because it is revolutionary technology, and we know the greater good of what these carotenoids do. And so with that premise in mind, and with a tremendous amount of hard work and a lot of effort, we kept going down a path. And we can solve app issues, we can solve issues with technology in terms of the technical problems and even calibration and so forth. But there was always pricing issues. There was always components of the actual scanner itself. There was new updates to components within the scanner that were causing complications. I mean, all these things were kind of coming to bear. And quite frankly, we just wanted to say, okay, from a healthcare practitioner standpoint and from a global standpoint, how do we solve this problem? Because we know we have a massive opportunity in front of us. It's probably the single largest growth trajectory we've ever been on when Scanner was introduced in the company. LifePak continues to sell $5.5 billion. I mean, it's gonna hit $6 billion within the next year in terms of sales. And so you look at this amazing product line, that's just one of them. And then you add all the other SCS products that go into it. And now you're talking over, I think it's somewhere close. I think we came up with the number of close to $20 billion through SCS products. So scanner certified products. And so now you see this happen where you're saying, wait a second, there's this relationship, this halo effect from the scanner that's happened. And if we can get this so there's less friction, so that we can cause there to be less problems with calibration, so we can make it easier to use, so we can put it in healthcare practitioner offices, so we can do it in a way that an office manager can just simply, just like, it's just part of the process, right? I'm going to take your blood pressure. I'm going to take your temperature. Let me do your stats. Oh, their scanner. Okay, boom, and off we go. Type thing. It's that simple. It's not this complicated process. And even if you're in somebody's home, it can be that simple. Or if you're in, as Steve called me one time, he was at an elementary trying to scan a bunch of his kids' friends and family and members and stuff like that. And, there was problems and stuff like that. How do we make it so stinking simple? So Steve Moore isn't worried about, oh, did something happen wrong with the system, the scanner? Is it working okay? Is everything fine? Because when it's working and it's working great, it is just quite honestly one of the most amazing technologies that I've ever seen in my entire life. And so from my perspective, and I'll give you a quick background, in 1992, I started a company called, it was called Packaging Services. It sounds very simple, but our first company was Nu Skin that we worked with. And I made the very first product called Vitalife. And Vitalife is what's now known as LifePak. And so that product was something that, so the very first product that actually came off the line that actually was sent to the 1992 Interior Design Nutritional launch was LifePak. And there was another product, Metabatrim, and then there was Vitox and Optigar, and for those of you who have been around that long. And then we also did all these meat and dairy and veggie a la cartes, because we had the four food groups, and talked about getting servings and all that sort of stuff. And so my point is that for me, this is an amazing story to be a part of something so profound, and be part of, for instance, the LifePak story. And the LifePak story has many chapters, and I'll try to be concise on this, but it really didn't grab a gear, quite honestly, until Nathan Ricks and some of the amazing leaders in this company saw the vision of Scanner and started to bring this technology, saying, how can we do something that can measure a health score in a significant way, and yet not be invasive, where we're having to poke somebody and get blood, or take urine samples, or take stool samples or saliva and so forth. How do we be less invasive? How do we do something that is very simplistic, so they can do, and to everyone now, it's like, oh, of course, you just do the scanners. It's so simple, but it's not so simple. And there is a lot of complexity to it. And we've had a long run of, trying to figure it out. I mean, Nokia was crushing the smartphone way back when, in early 90s, but then it really didn't have the technology or the willingness to innovate to get to the next level. And that's why the Apple iPhone is now continues to be certainly one of the single largest products, because it solved the customer's problems. Nokia never solved the customer's problems. They just use a telecommunications device. They said, no, they want to have apps on there. They want to have music on there. They want to have all these other functionalities on there. We're not going to design a phone. We're going to design something that's going to really drive the business and help the consumer have a better experience, all on one little location. So obviously, Nokia was out of the business within 5 years, even though they almost owned 50% of the market share before they launched iPhone in 2007. So My point to that whole story is to say there's a time and a place where technology meets with the opportunity, which meets with the evolving technology. And where we were finally able to make a big breakthrough was simply put in AI/ML. And that has really changed everything for us because the Raman technology is very, very powerful. And understanding those photons and how they come into the skin and getting the readings and so forth, and getting the levels of nanometers of light and so forth, that is really very few people have ever even understood fully what that really did. But it did give you a score that enabled you to understand fully whether or not you're getting that product into your system. I'm going to take a step back real fast on one more thing, is the fact that, the reality is back when I came into this industry, and I've mentioned this before, but a lot of people were very concerned about the ability of nutritional companies of actually the products actually being absorbed into the body or even broken down. Unfortunately, a lot of times the tablets and or products that people were making were not even being broken down. They're going